What's cooking, Juventus fans? Welcome back to your old lady's favorite YouTube channel. Of course, today we have your latest rundown of all things Juventus, but some of the main topics we're going to be talking about, it's international break time. We're going to cool it off a little bit from the transfer mercado stuff. We're going to talk about your Juventus players, how they're performing internationally. Are they healthy? Are they injured? Whatever we have going on there, as well as some little bits and pieces when it comes to maybe one player outgoing, but it has to do with Juventus as well. Stick with us. We'll fill you in now. Ciao ragazzi, welcome back to the Bianconeri Zone. My name is Justin Sofro. Today is Saturday, November 13th, 2021, and of course, I have your latest rundown of all things Juventus. Before we get started, though, make sure you hit that like button, smash that subscribe button if you haven't already joined our community. What are you waiting for? And then also go ahead and hit that bell icon to stay up to date for all of our latest videos. Because I know, just to be honest, YouTube, not the best at sending out notifications, especially when we send out multiple videos a day. So make sure you just keep checking, and then also hopefully that bell icon's turned on so you get notified as soon as the latest news drops. Let's just go ahead and jump into it though now, and we're going to get into what we have when it comes to Juventus. The very first bit of news I have for you today involves the American, my compatriot, of course, as always. We need to talk about him, Weston McKennie. I know, come at me, people who hate him. But overall, Cero'S talking about saying that Tottenham are working to sign a new midfielder. Fabio Paratici has shown interest for Weston McKennie, who was signed by Juventus by Paratici. Spurs sports director, which is him, greatly appreciates the American player. And I gotta be honest, I don't want to hype him up too much because I have been very happy with what I've seen from Weston McKennie as of late, especially lately, given the poor performance maybe by some of our other midfielders. Poor performance all the time by our midfielders, if we're being honest. But to finally see him step up and do what he can do and bring what he can to that midfield's been great, especially when it comes to spreading the defense a little bit out, spreading the ball around so that way they can get moving, hopefully being able to create for their attackers. Again, I also want to talk about, I didn't have it written up in a graphic, but if you watched last night, the American, the USA team against Mexico in the World Cup qualifiers, I believe it was. Anyway, went on and to beat them 2-0. So I'm happy about that, obviously. But Weston McKennie scored the convincing final goal and a really good moment, a really good ball movement from him, especially creating space and then having to come out with that finish. I don't know why I couldn't get that out there. Really good performance by Weston McKennie. He seems to have convinced American fans, American coaches, whatever have you, but also he seems to have convinced somebody else. We're going to move on to the second part of this Weston McKennie update, and that's going to be, sorry, it took me a little bit longer than normal. Corriere dello Sport's reporting that Max Allegri's relationship with McKennie is better. McKennie has convinced Allegri after a bad start of the season to get him away from the club. A high bid will be needed now. So before it was almost like if any kind of offer came in, we're going to move him. He wasn't sticking. He wasn't gelling. He wasn't performing the best of what we expect him to perform while at Juventus. Well, now that's changed a little bit. And that's because Max Allegri has liked what he's seen. I mean, it's hard to argue with that when the last 4 or 5 matches, he has been one of Juventus' best player. He has been a man of the match at least a couple times. He had scored a couple goals, but not even that. When he's not scoring, he's doing the things that Juventus needs him to do. So I'm very high on Weston McKennie right now. My personal opinions, I'm still okay with selling him. I just want to be honest. I'm still okay with selling Weston McKennie. I'm not tied to him. If I know that Juventus can make some money off of him, by all means, Juventus, make that money. That way you can put it into guys, obviously, like a Tchouaméni, like even as Zakaria, who we saw yesterday against Italy, who did look terrible, but then also just different situations. I get it. But also, if Weston McKennie continues to play like this and he can like sustain this momentum, I don't want to say throughout the rest of the season because you're going to have dips. All players are going to have dips. We have to be honest and we have to be reasonable people. Even our best players have dips. And I know I can hear the thousands of angry fanboys screaming out or whatever at me after my criticisms of Ronaldo during the early part of the season, during the Mercado and all that. Yeah, you're allowed to be criticized. Anyway, we can move on. Anyway, but overall, the situation with Weston McKennie remains to be seen if he may end up continuing to be a Juventus player, especially if you, one, fail to land those other guys, and two, and a reasonable offer doesn't come in. Talking about performances internationally, though, we have to move on to another local Juventus product, and really need to talk about him for a second. Just about some struggles that I've seen out there on the pitch, and that is I want to talk about Federico Chiesa. How he's had I don't know. I feel like it's been kind of quiet. It's been kind of like hushed a little bit. And let me know if you disagree or if you agree with me. But I feel like it's been a little bit of hush when it comes to Chiesa's struggles as of lately with Juventus. And then now it's bleeding over into the international team for the Azzurri in the World Cup qualifiers. I'm not saying this is Juventus's fault. Not saying that at all. What I'm saying is he's just playing a little bit. Something's going on there. He's not the Chiesa that he was last season, and he hasn't been the Chiesa that even we expect under Allegri. So, want to talk about that real quick. Basically, at some pointers I had, is Chiesa's latest dip in productivity has continued into the World Cup qualifier versus Switzerland. The player only tallied one shot on target, one shot off target, two ground duels, one clearance, one tackle, and one interception. Chiesa continued to struggle in creating scoring opportunities. He just easily got his pocket picked a couple times. Every time he made an effort to attack, it just looked sluggish. It looked out of sorts. I don't know what's going on there. That's just something that I picked up on. Let me know if you think I'm wrong. If you think Chiesa's fine, I hope he is. But honestly, I'm starting to see patterns. I'm starting to see a trend when it comes to my guy Federico Chiesa, and I just wonder what that is. Is that mentally? Is it teammates associated with? I'm not saying it's all on him, but it's starting to become a trend. I thought after he had scored that goal a couple games ago for Juventus that maybe he'd get this ball rolling, and he hasn't seemed to do it yet. So the world isn't ending. It's all right. But overall, unfortunately, it didn't work out because Chiesa could have been somebody who really could have saved that match for Italy, solidified them really being in the World Cup and not having to sweat this out at the end. And you can only imagine the yelling and screaming I'll be doing if Italy don't make the World Cup after winning the Euros. It'll disaster. It'll be a disaster. That's what it's going to be. All right, let's move on. I don't want to stick on this too much, but just let me know your thoughts on Chiesa. I'm not full on meltdown mode when it comes to him, but I am a little bit concerned about his long-term prospects right now for the season. Let's talk about Rabiot, and that's Gazzetta dello Sport is going in about Rabiot, saying Rabiot is not convinced Allegri and a transfer in January is very possible. So nothing really super new here, nothing really substantial, but I think we've all kind of agreed. Rabiot's seen his minutes decline. When he has played, he hasn't impressed anybody at all. So he definitely could be on a move pretty soon, especially when you have, I think we talked about it yesterday, Newcastle potentially being interested in Rabiot and bringing him in there. Rabiot also is a better player compared to Ramsey, at least from what he's showed at Juventus, that he could be a better option to actually put out there on the market and try to sell him and make some money off of him or do something. Or actually just, and let's not even go up money or what we're getting from him, just to actually just move him on. Just to actually move on and have somebody have some interest in him. That's really what it is. All right. Let's move on. And then the final real story that we have for you today is regarding basically just some injuries that are sustained potentially during international play. Something that I worried about, but honestly, I think these are probably, when I say this, probably good things. Just hear me out. Romeo Guidetti was talking about basically South American players being injured that are Juventus players. Dybala has a calf overload. He's out for the Uruguay match as a precaution. Bentancur bruised left knee post-collision with Correa. Both are of no concern. Okay, I'm going to be an ugly guy or whatever. Bentancur, I don't care. That's fine. You be injured, go play, do whatever. Don't care. Let's talk about Dybala. That's the guy who really is a huge factor in our season and how it plays out. The healthier he is, the better it is for Juventus long term. He needs to become that consistent goal scorer because right now he's our leading scorer with 3 goals. Like, are you kidding? 3 goals. That's how bad it is right now. Anyway, 3 goals so far this season. Not doing the best, but also not the worst player. I mean, he's the best goal scorer that Juventus has right now at 3 goals, which is sad to say this far into the season. But because of that, you need to sustain his health. He needs to be healthier. And one of the things that I said when it comes to Dybala, when it comes to other players that are tired or injured, Chiesa one, go backtrack a little bit. Say one of the things I thought about maybe his issues could be he's tired. It could be that. It very well could be that. That could be why he's having a slump. I wanted them to rest. I wanted them to rest during this international break, and I'm hoping that they can get some rest. Dybala, take it easy. Don't worry about Argentina. Messi and whoever, they got this. You take a rest and worry about Juve and get back and get healthy and come back for Juventus as good as new. That's my personal opinion. I know a lot of people may disagree. And I know other people, even on the channel, disagree. I love the international games. I love the Azzurri. It means just as much to me as Juventus, and I'm not downplaying how much I care about Juventus. I'm saying that's how high I hold the international, the Italian national team. So it just means a lot to me. Disagree with me if you will. Let me know in the comment section down below how you really feel about that in the injury situation. Anyway, that's all I really have for you today. I appreciate you for tuning in. As always, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and hit that bell icon to stay notified for all of our latest videos. Make sure you follow us at our Twitter handles down below. I'm Justin Sofro at Justin Sofro on Twitter, and then of course Bianconeri Zone at Bianconeri Zone. Forza Juve, Forza Bianconeri.